It is the Mosley Show, up and running, and we apologize. We're usually pretty close to 1 o'clock, but today we had a lot of stuff coming together on the show at the last minute, which is kind of the way things happen. Kevin Hoosier Hall, welcome into the program today. My friend and the producer of this fine show, Kevin Hoosier Hall. And Kevin, as you well know, what happens is now you have another show that you work on early in the morning, but then once that's over at about 10, you get focused on the Mosley Show. And from the time I get up, which is extremely early, I don't know if that's true, but I'm cranking on the show. But what often happens is you find, you hear back from somebody or something big happens like right as we're about to come on the show. And so, but that's good because that just shows that we're kind of getting some exciting things to share with you. Kevin, I earlier today, somebody, and it was Cooperstein, in fact, because I thought Chuck Cooperstein would be a good guy to have on the first day of the NBA Finals, which the Knicks and the Spurs get going tonight. It's going to be a 7:30 start right there on ABC. Are they going to? Yeah, they'll be on ABC. I was for a second I thought maybe they put it on ESPN. It'll be ABC, and we'll get to see Chuck Barkley and the inside the NBA team with Ernie and Shaq and Kenny for the first time ever on the NBA Finals, and they'll be the pregame and the halftime. And that will be great because we usually don't get that level of fun and commentary and all that kind of stuff in the past. So we'll all get ready and we'll welcome back ESPN and ABC because they've been away for a while because they had the Eastern Conference Finals, which ended a little quickly. Now, Kev, Chuck was on a plane when I got a hold of him, and he was headed to the Memorial, Jack Nicklaus's tournament, and I don't know if he's working there or just getting to go. Pretty cool thing, going to Columbus, so he was headed there, and we were just going back and forth because I thought he'll have a lot to say about the Mavericks leaving, and he'll have opinions on this and all this. Around that time, Chuck, but he was on a plane, so he couldn't do our show today. About that time, Chuck had put something out on social media about like, hey, incredible job by the Dallas Morning News explaining what makes an arena that's only 25 years old, what makes it quote unquote obsolete. I mean, we still go down there. There's plenty of stuff to do around there. There's all the restaurants. I can take a train down there. I don't do that often. I did it for the Mark Aguirre jersey retirement. I think I did take a train down there. I took light rail, and I used to work down there where 103.3 ESPN. I was basically attached to so there's the thing, there's the deal. And over to the left over here was my office, my studio, my radio studio, because Cumulus has its offices down there. And then Channel 8 was over the other side, right next to it. Well, sadly, in the last 48 hours, the Mavs and Stars have announced their departures from downtown Dallas. We'll discuss both, but the morning news this guy's name is Prisbel, and I was really, and it's just it's Eric Prisbel who has been with USA Today and other places, and now he's a sports business reporter for the Dallas Morning News. This is a really well done that explains why these arenas are not lasting longer than they are, and how technology has sort of transformed, and then trying to meet the demands of who is that Eric, who is that, Kev? Gen Z? I mean, whoever thought about building things for Gen Z, but whatever. The demands on what an experience is like in an arena, in an entertainment area, have changed immensely since this place was built 25 years ago. So I think there are various and different reasons why downtown Dallas is losing. But if the question becomes, why is this arena, which many of us still have a great time and we can watch games and we've enjoyed great moments there. I watched the 2006 finals there, the 2011 finals there, the Western Conference finals for both those things. You know, I've been to great hockey games over there, playoff games. What was when they won the Stanley Cup in 99? What I'm trying to remember is, were they already in this place? Kev, look that up real quick, if you don't mind. I think they moved over here right around then. Like, let's do the math, because they said it's like 25 years old. So they would have moved in there in like 2001. So the Stars were still in Reunion Arena when they won the 99 Stanley Cup. I think it was right there on the borderline of all that. But anyway, at 2:00, the man who wrote this excellent piece on why this has all changed is going to join us, and Eric Prisbel will be on with us, and he really does a nice job talking to a ton of people in the industry and just explaining, you know, how this sort of thing happens. Because I think it was kind of like the old baseball park. It's like, well, wait, this old ballpark, the Globe Life, which we used to call the ballpark in Arlington, it seems fine. I don't understand. Like, why do they need a new complex? Well, same thing has happened here. And Kev, I mean, I'm still just trying to adjust to all this. I mean, I grew up as a kid and even as an adult for a time, you know, going over to Valley View Mall, not that much. For whatever reason, you know, the Galleria came and North Park, and I grew up closer to Mesquite, so that was Town East. So Valley View wasn't like a huge player, but even not that long ago, they still had the movies over there, and it was a discount theater, which was nice. And so I was still over there fairly often. It's hard for those of us who sort of grew up with these malls to imagine, like, what? But it's just sat over there doing nothing now for like 15 years, just sort of a eyesore, or 10 years at least. But really, that mall hasn't been anything in the past 20 years. And so it's just a parking lot. And it's right there near Preston and 635. If you're familiar with Dallas, there Kevin has it's beautiful. It's beautiful, right? There it is. Come join us. Come join us at Valley View, the Valley View site. We love it. You'll love it. You'll love it out here. It's just like landing on the moon. Just a beautiful landscape. Come enjoy now they have over 100 acres. If they had have chosen there was some thought that downtown Dallas could tear down the city hall or somewhere around there, and they would have like 50 to 60 acres to build an arena and keep the team downtown. It wasn't going to happen. I mean, I can't even. What is that, Kev? What are we showing right now?
That's Valley View Mall. Isn't it wonderful and beautiful? A lot of potential.
That's what it used to be like inside. I can't even really see that.
I think that's what it looks like now with all the, or lately with all the extracurricular artistry there.
Hold on. Oh, well, I don't know what they're up to out there. Let me take a peek. Oh, people are like on the walls. Oh gosh. I don't even think that exists anymore. I think this part has been knocked down, but that's That's beautiful. All right, but they'll clean it up. It's over 100 acres. Now, let's remember the Dumonts also have over 200 acres that they've acquired out in Irving. If they ever legalize gambling, and I think that Irving site for what they would like to do with the resort and hotel and casino, and that's the old Texas Stadium site, I believe, kind of where all that land is. And that's sort of a huge nothing right now, much like, Valley View. Now, to those of us who travel up and down 635 or around or whatever however you want to say that, know that it's horrible. I mean, even with now they have the Texpress lanes, and that's been a beautiful thing, but you got to pay. You got to pay to play. If you want to bypass all that traffic, you better pay up. And if you don't start getting those, letting those fines jump up on you. I mean, it's crazy. That time of day to imagine. I mean, most people that are listening to us, at least from the Dallas, even some of you from the Houston or Austin area, or San Antonio area, have been to Dallas enough to know where the Galleria is. And that's up there basically hard by the North Tollway, Dallas North Tollway, and 635 sits the Galleria. Where the Valley View is a little bit east of there on 635, and but not that far away, quite honestly. It's right around Preston and 635. So you go past Greenville, the Greenville exit on 635, and then the next big exit you would get to would be, you get to Hillcrest, and then you'd be up to Preston. So right up around Preston and 635 would sit, in Alpha and all that stuff, sits Montfort is when you're getting closer to the Galleria. But Preston and 635, and again, it used to be one side of 635, like on the south side, had some decent restaurants, a Spring Creek Barbecue, Mario and Alberto's. Now it has like some kind of weird Canadian breakfast place, Maple Leaf Diner. It's okay. It's okay. On the south side, and on the north side sat the north. So on the north east side would sit this old Valley View. Now that said, this is a dark day for downtown Dallas. Think about the headlines in today's paper. They tried to save Neiman Marcus downtown. That was like the old signature store, been there forever. That's going away in September. The AAC, who knows? Maybe it'll host the Wings. I joked, Kevin, that good grief, the Wings are now looking at the Big Town Mall site, which is an old mall in Mesquite. And people that like good mall humor, they like that one, Kevin. The joke, I didn't know how the joke would work. And I even had Clarence Hill like trying to poke fun at me, like I tried. The joke didn't land. Kev, now the joke, I looked a little bit ago, and it has 15 to 20,000 likes. The Big Ten, any sort of old school mall humor, and you could talk about Oak Tree or Gadzooks or any of the old stores within the mall, that stuff hits because it takes us back to our childhoods, those of us who grew up in this area. So the joke, I'm sorry, I have to go back at Clarence Hill. The joke worked, and it did land. Now, within 48 hours, we've lost the Stars. Now let's tell people where the Stars are going, Kev. They're going out to the Shoppes at Willow Bend. Do we have a picture of that, Kev? Do we not really have the Valley View? The Shoppes at Willow Bend. And I get some of these places mixed up because there used to be Collin Creek. There's the Shoppes at Willow Bend. There was like a Willow Bend Mall. They now have some like up near Legacy, and the Tollway is sort of a food shops and outdoor mall. And that's become a very popular kind of place. It's not your typical mall, but the Stars are going out there. I think the shops at Willow Bend may be out there, kind of like where EDS used to be in Plano. The Stars, this is less hurtful, honestly. The Stars leaving downtown. Again, I know people liked it, and I know it was fun to go down there. And from Reunion Arena, that was built in 1978. I mean, that was unbelievable for our city. And we had great city leaders back then. And then Ron Kirk helped us keep the Mavericks, he helped the AAC and keep the Stars downtown. Well, we have a real lack of leadership. We got this guy, Eric Johnson, is the mayor of Dallas. Well, Dallas does not have a strong mayor system. First of all, the mayor, we've had good mayors. I've liked some of them. Some of them were actually strong personalities, but we don't have a strong mayor system. Eric Johnson is a nice enough guy, but this is what you call like a guy who just kind of this is like back in the day when they really wanted to get after you as a politician, they'd call you a flip-flopper. Well, this is who this guy is. He was a Democrat. Oh, wait, I think I'm going to be better around here to be a Republican. So then he flip-flops over to being a Republican. He doesn't even, he can't, the Morning News, which is the newspaper of record in our area, can't even get him on the record, can't get him to comment, won't respond to anything. He is a mayor in hiding. In fact, it took him about 48 hours to come out with any sort of a statement and about losing both of these teams from downtown. And of course, the Mavericks are still in Dallas. Let's not get this wrong, because some people don't understand how this works. That is North Dallas. Used to be considered far, far North Dallas. I don't really think we call it far North Dallas anymore, but it's Dallas. And the Mavericks will remain in Dallas. But make no mistake, it's an embarrassment to the city council. It's an embarrassment to the mayor to lose both of these teams from downtown Dallas. All right. The AAC was just fine. We knew, everybody made it clear that they were going to build a new arena, including, Mark Cuban. The new practice arena is over in the, it's not that new anymore, but it's in the design district. I think Cuban, if he had stayed in control, and again, that was disastrous because that's what led to the departure of Luka, basically Mark Cuban not having any say in the organization anymore. And so that led the way to a lot of this. I do think Cuban, much like he would have kept Luka, I think he would have tried to lobby and would have been more apt or more, because again, he understood the team's relationship to downtown Dallas, and he would have tried to keep the team in downtown Dallas. Once we turned it over to the Dumonts, or it's the Adelsons really, but Patrick Dumont is the son-in-law who now owns the team. All of the history and all of the attachment from downtown Dallas and the Mavericks to downtown Dallas, that went out the window. He does not care. And so he brought Rick Welch out of retirement to be the president and to help him get this new arena. And they have now purchased this acreage to build their arena on for somewhere in the neighborhood, I think I just saw, of about $55 million. Now that's a good deal. Sounds like a lot of money, but where this real estate is and where, right off a major highway in Dallas, they're going to get a good deal on this. And the city of Dallas will kick in whatever it kicks in, but the city of Dallas has embarrassed itself again. And by letting this get out of downtown, you now lose not one, but two teams. Now the Stars will go out to Plano. Let's explain real quick the Stars' relationship to Dallas. Whether it be out at Valley Ranch, whether it be out in Frisco now, whether it be Plano, hockey and all their training facilities and hockey rinks that they built for lessons and hockey to start and ice skating and all the stuff that was happening. All of that was happening to the north. All of that was happening in Plano, Frisco, all out there. The people who embraced and fell in love with the Stars the most all live out there. Slowly but surely, call it what you will, people started moving out to the suburbs. You could get more house, more land, whatever, but it started to grow. And that's how Frisco went from one high school to like 15 high schools. All right. Allen decided not to do it that way, but Allen still has had enormous growth, just like McKinney, Frisco, Salina, Prosper, everything out north has grown. Okay. So it's the demographics and everything changed immensely. So the Stars fan base, it was already coming in, I would say 75 to 80% of its season ticket holders are coming in from that direction, that area. So the Stars are taking their arena to their people. All right. Now the Mavericks, it's a little different. And again, South Dallas always gets screwed. I mean, it's like they did get a deck park here recently. It's like, okay, we're going to throw you guys a bone. Here's this new park in near the zoo, out near Zhang Boulevard. So we're going to throw you a bone. Here's a deck park. But in terms of any kind of shopping, sustainable restaurants, grocery stores, all of that, South Dallas isn't getting any of that. All right. And now their access to watch a game is just completely getting cut off. The only thing downtown Dallas may end up with are the Dallas Wings. All right. And Kevin, God love you. You are into professional volleyball. Can you tell me where that team plays? Because you just went to a
yes.
volleyball tournament recently.
That's in the Stars practice facility in Frisco, the same place the G League team plays.
Are you saying that's where that team has its home games, out in Frisco?
Yeah. Yep.
So they're north too.
Yep.
The only hope, Kev, is the Wings. There was talk about building them an arena. I mean, if they're not going to tear down the AAC, I don't know why in the world, especially with Beckers and having some some attention on that team. They've been out in Arlington playing at UTA. They should just move into the AAC. Now, the AAC, and I think people are wondering, when are these things going to be built? When will this all happen? The lease runs through 2031. This has all been happening for a long time. The Mavs were deciding between Valley View and downtown, and the Stars got in this huge fight with the Mavs. The two tenants basically hated each other, and so I think we're waiting to see who made the first move. Mavs make their move. Stars quickly let everybody know they needed to let their fan base and everybody know what they're doing, and so they're out at the Shops of Willow Bend. I'll look that up, Kev. I don't know how many acres that is out there exactly, but they will have a big entertainment, food. Now, watch on this, by the way, because this does not always happen. When Tom Hicks was we're going to have a new, remember, he went into bankruptcy. They were going to have all this wonderful stuff out in Arlington. Even in 1994, when they opened the old ballpark, oh my gosh, we're going to have all this stuff. It's going to be wonderful. We'll have all these facilities and all these restaurants and entertainment. None of that happened. So I would say, because of Dumont's background, I would have more faith in all his stuff happening. And I guess the city of Dallas will have to step up and help in this process. So I do think there'll be something nice around the new Valley View site for the Mavs. But just remember, like, even with Baylor's Foster Pavilion, I mean, it's a beautiful new pavilion. And, I don't really have that much problem finding parking, but I'm in the media. I can get a parking pass and all that kind of stuff. I think the connection of whatever is supposed to happen all around there, as far as all the restaurants and entertainment and all that, I think we're still waiting on all that to happen, because, again, the city of, I don't want to get into that whole thing, but I'm just saying, be a little careful when you hear, oh my gosh, what this is going to do to our city. Oh my goodness, what the economic impact. Oh my gosh, they're all going to come in here and they're going to spend like crazy. Now, here's what happens. People like Arlington and Plano and Frisco, they just all run circles and around city of Dallas. And yesterday, Eric Johnson comes up with some silly response where he says, we are in competition with our neighboring cities. Really? Eric, that only goes back to Irving having having the old Cowboy Stadium since whenever that started, 1972 or 1971, whenever that came into being. Okay. This is not breaking news. They've been running circles, even going back to when the Cowboys were going to leave Texas Stadium and build a new place. And Mayor Laura and the county judge Margaret Kelleher wouldn't even let the city of Dallas have a vote on that. Hey, do you think it'd be a good idea for us to maybe have the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas? They were so opposed to it, they didn't even let the citizens of Dallas have a vote on it. And Arlington's, of course, stepped up and goes like, yeah, we'll kick in 300 or 400 million for this. Absolutely. We're happy to do that. We're happy to do some tax hikes and whatever you have to do to build one of these things. I think City of Plano is going to kick in about 800 million on this deal, to in incentives and everything else, to say, come on out here, enjoy your time with us, Dallas Stars. All right, Kev, good opening. We had a lot of ground to cover there. Tell you what, Kevin, don't feel like you've got to get to everything, because we'll have more time after our 2:00 interview. Eric Prisbull is going to join us, and he's written a really great article in the Dallas Morning News today about why these arenas like the AAC are obsolete after 25 years. We'll talk to him at 2:00. Next, we'll do some Campus Confidential.
It's the premier charity event of the year, the 2026 Central Texas Cattle Barons Ball, presented by Ascension Providence. A fun evening filled with great food and drink, dancing, a spectacular auction, and more. This year's theme is Nashville Nights, Neon Lights, and Bullfights. Get your tickets now, donate, or be a sponsor. Help support the American Cancer Society to find a cure. The 2026 Central Texas Cattle Barons Ball, October 24th at MCC Highlander Ranch. For more information, go to centraltexascattlebaronsball.org. At Schmaltz's Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz's Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975 with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you.
Have you heard the latest about CTWP? Let me tell you. How about 2 cents for a color copy? Only Kyocera offers. Don't believe me? We were the copier dog? Grab your paperwork and let's compare. I guarantee CTWP has the best prices and service.
It's the 2026 Heart of Texas Builders Association Parade of Homes, brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas. Tour a variety of homes at different price points, plus see the latest trends From beautiful kitchens to outdoor living spaces, see the latest colors and design patterns. This is your chance to walk through homes, meet the builders, and get inspiration for your own projects. The Heart of Texas Builders Association Parade of Homes, June 5th, 6th, and 7th, and June 13th and 14th. Tickets are available online or at any parade home. For more information, go to wacohomeparade.com.
Do you suffer from low sports enthusiasm? Have you just not been able to get into the game? Maybe your balls are just feeling deflated. Well, get back to your old self and enjoy the game again. The friendly bartenders at Dancing Bear want you to know that you're not alone, and they can help. With dozens of craft beers rotating every week, pints of beer at Dancing Bear Pub have proven to reduce symptoms of low sports enthusiasm. Side effects include good times, good vibes, and new friends. Do not visit Dancing Bear Pub without consulting 4 or 5 of your closest buddies.
Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple is your one-stop shop for custom window treatment, transforming your vision into reality. Choose from a selection of shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind our service and products, ensuring peace of mind with our trusted warranty. Call Bumblebee Blinds today to schedule your design consultation. Bumblebee Blinds, simplifying window treatments one covering at a time. BumblebeeBlinds.com.
Mosley, and I'm just looking through this article here. We'll have Eric Prisbill on with us in just a few minutes to talk about this article he wrote, the Dallas Morning News. But these things talking about the AAC, where the Mavs and Stars are now going to move out in 2031. I still don't, man. I don't understand enough about technology. This is a somebody from UNT. Kev saying, professor of sports management and director of UNT Sports Innovation Space, said consumer habits and advancing technology have rendered the AAC outdated since it opened in 2021. I still don't quite understand, and we'll have someone on to explain it to us. Like, what is so outdated about it? It looks fine. Now, part of it is they're acting like the Mavericks are, at least, that it's like the food and beverage. They don't have enough high-end. I promise you I wasn't going around there looking, I wish I had more high-end dining and beverage options in here. I mean, I could find decent stuff. Now, again, I was in there in the media dining area, so I'm a bad person to maybe ask about this, but wow. I mean, some of these arenas, think about that. You build this gorgeous new place, you pour millions upon millions, and now it's 20 to 25 years as a shelf life on this. Generally, you used to build these things and you'd expect to get like 50 years out of it minimum. And now it's 20 to 25 years. We didn't account for technology changes. What? Like, what do I need when I'm sitting at my seat at an arena watching one of these games that I'm not getting? A better jumbo screen? No. Better access to food? Not really. I may need to have somebody from Gen Z on to explain this to me. What do you want? I don't know what my daughter's 18. She's down the hall. I don't know what gen that is. What is that? Kev, do you know what generation that is? Our kids?
That's Gen Z.
Is they in Gen Z? These college kids?
Yep.
Okay.
I have some of my younger ones are what's called Gen Alpha.
Yeah. We asked Liam like what he wants from an arena. Like what like I'd like to kind of know. All right, let's do some Campus Confidential though, because I do not want to ignore what's happening today in Washington D.C. Senator Cruz and Cantwell and the sponsors of that huge bill, bipartisan bill to try to address some of these issues in college athletics. It's basically the Save College Athletics bill or something along those lines. They are all having a huge hearing today. Earlier today, I was real dialed in. This is on YouTube, by the way. You can watch the replay of it on YouTube. I was real dialed in, Kev, to the Nick Saban part of this because I like the fact that the SEC and the Big Ten came out and basically hiked their leg on this thing. Like, no, we don't. We need help from Congress, but this ain't it. This is not. This is what we need. And you know what? Nick Saban sat in there today and said, "This is exactly what we need. No, this is good. Thank you, and this is what we need for college athletics."
Right. It started earlier this week or last week with Curt Cignetti talking about the unsustainability of collegiate athletics. Now, this is what Saban had to say on Capitol Hill today.
Be the history. My first year we had collective at Alabama, 2.7 million. Next year, 7 million. Next year, 10 million. I retired. Next year, 17 million. Next year, 24 million. Now you have schools that have close to $40 million rosters. So if we continue to do that, we're going to lose Olympic sports. We're going to lose non-revenue sports. We're going to lose scholarships. And basically what's going to happen is you're going to have football and basketball succeed, and we'll have club sports for everything else.
There you go. What do you think?
He's right. And I know people say, well, you made millions upon millions from these college athletes, and now you're trying to take it away from them. I think I don't think it's that we have to be that cynical. I get what they're saying. Okay. And maybe there's some hypocrisy built into this thing from these college coaches who have just made millions upon millions from these college athletes before they were really getting anything or any kind of, they fought it for years, but that was more the NCAA, right? And I think what Saban is trying to say is simply like, and it's what Ren Baker said to us, the West Virginia AD yesterday, like the way this is going, there's literally only like a handful of programs that can even do this. And they're all going to have to get rid of their Olympic sports. And I know a lot of people listen to us, Kevin, go, I don't really care. I don't really care that much about golf and tennis and all that kind of stuff. Okay. All right. If you want to have that angle, fine. But it's really unfortunate, Kev, that we've gotten to the point. I thought that thing yesterday from Ren Baker was really interesting when he said that in 3 years, it's gone from, the two sports that actually were profitable at most Power 4 conferences or Power 4 teams were men's basketball and football. Mm-hmm. And that if you just look at basketball and you include like roster payments, that within 3 years now, within 3 years of this starting, you have less than 5 college basketball programs in the country that are profitable. And we could probably name them. Duke would probably be one of them, maybe Michigan, maybe UNC. It's ones that have the power to go outside and maybe do an outside TV deal or do a deal with Amazon or do something like sort of outside the norm. But I thought that was interesting. You've gone from 2 profitable sports to really only 1. And I don't know, if you're spending $40 to $50 million on a football roster, are you really profitable? I know University of Texas, from an athletic standpoint, brings in a massive revenue, but they're also having to spend a lot as well. So we're basically watching college athletics destroy itself. And then you have the people on the other side, Kevin, and I think we're probably somewhere in the middle in the sense that, like, maybe we don't need to try to go back to the way it was, where they're only getting scholarships and they're just getting enough to get them through school and a little bit of money to get a bite to eat. We don't need to go all the way back to that. But this thing where we'll let the market dictate this, well, we've already seen what that'll do. The market has allowed Texas Tech, because of their billionaire, Cody Campbell, to go into overdrive and to arrive at the party. But even the billionaire wants reform, because even billionaires don't like to just do like dumb stuff, right? Like just continue to throw money at rosters and all this kind of stuff. Even they would like to see some reform. And Cody Campbell's kind of leading the way. So anyway, Kev, I know that was a long-winded answer to you, but that's what I think about.
I don't. This is just food for thought because I do want to get into the next one, but I'm wondering if the media definitely plays into a problem with this because they perpetuate kind of this problem by continuing to report on it and use it as borderline kind of TMZ tabloid kind of news, what these players are making, and drive that business. But then also, the NCAA is a governing body, and they're still looking to the government to try to fix their problems because they don't want to take the initiative to do it. But all that, but I wanted to get your take. This may be the last one we have time for right now on Joey McGuire. And I'm talking about how he handled the Brendan Sorsby kind of scenario with his team. So check this out from Josh Pate's podcast.
World, it's extremely cutthroat.
Right.
And anytime someone knows that the top dog, which is you in this conference right now, may be staggered a little bit, they just go for your throat.
Right.
That's just the nature of competition.
Yeah.
And so no one else is going to feel sorry for you.
No.
So you definitely can't afford to have an ounce of it inside your building.
Yeah.
But that's a cattle prod to the neck.
Yeah.
When you hear that about your quarterback, how'd your team take it?
I think they responded really well. There was a lot of questions of like, hey, how can we get a hold of him? There were also questions, of like I said, there's about to be a statement made by Brendan and by the university, and a couple of guys were whining. I was like, because we're not going to hide from this. I mean, it's going to come out, so we need to make sure that we're a part of that, and he wants to be a part of that. And that was a big, I think that's whenever I've talked to him, and I talked to him last night because he texted me right after the softball game saying, let's go, man, how awesome is this, coach? One thing with these guys, they understand, like, we can't pick and choose when we get behind each other. We either get behind each other or we don't get behind each other. And so this was a moment for these young guys to understand, man, life is hard and things will be thrown at you, and how you respond to it is really what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. And it's very interesting. They've rallied around a guy who kept something hidden. And a lot of people, it's not like everybody that has addiction is out there like, hey, guess what? Guess what I have? But this guy, by the nature of what he did, put his new teammates and his team in peril. This is a team that stops at nothing. They build their team. They pay enormous money to win. And the most important part of their team has let them down in a huge way. So the cynical part of me would say that a lot of this is window dressing. A lot of this is we stand by him, and any way we can stand by him will help us in the court of public opinion, and it just shows we care about him as more than an athlete. The cutthroat part that Josh Pate brought up is the truth of the matter is this. Will Hammond, or whoever is going to start at quarterback for Texas Tech, is being ramped up. And I would say that they understand, even the most optimistic Tech fan, and they've got a cutthroat lawyer representing Sorsby, but they know there is a 95% chance they will not have Sorsby next season. And listen, if they do have him, I never think you can make even more of a mockery of the NCAA than Will Wade and others are making. But this would be the greatest mockery of the entire system ever. If Brendan Sorsby somehow, because of a court or injunction, was allowed to play, that's when you just go, let's get rid of the NCAA. Surely we can come up with something better, because we have no enforcement. The rules mean nothing. And I think you would have to just I think this could be sort of an earth-shattering moment in college athletics, as if we haven't had enough already. Okay, Kev, we're about 3 or 4 minutes away from this. Eric Prisball is going to join us from the Dallas Morning News to discuss a story he wrote today about how did the AAC become obsolete so quickly. and the Mavs and Stars are heading out. One to Valley View, out in North Dallas. One to far North Dallas, Plano. We'll discuss next.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
Okay, that was really great for the first time on your own. Let's maybe take a break and then we'll come back and do some more.
Sounds great.
Oh, you're back. That was a fast break.
I know.
Hi, would either of you be able to assist me?
Yes, she'd love to help.
Oh, yes. I love assists.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information.
It's our declaration of deals, and savings are moving fast at Allen Samuels Jeep in Waco. Get a 2026 Jeep Wrangler Sport for just $32,990, or take $10,000 off a 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokee Summit, or qualified buyers can get 0% APR for 36 months and no payments for 90 days. Don't stand still. Drive today. Allen Samuels.
Come by, let's be friends.
It's Mosley Show, and we roll on. And Eric Prisball from the Dallas Morning News joining us now. Eric, I'm going to put on my real glasses for this. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'd like to see more on those shelves behind you. I think we could get...
We got a lot of Legos here, Matt. Thanks so much for having me. Busy week. What a week.
I'm glad to have you. And I like people that explain things that we're all pulling our hair out on, like how did the AAC and how did the ballpark in Arlington suddenly become obsolete? Things that we just, I guess, Eric, and you may be a little bit younger than I am, but I don't really think they're building these things for our generation anymore. You know, it's like, it's kind of amazing, but it was a great job of the Dallas Morning News by you sort of explaining and talking to people to get a feel for, wait a second, what's wrong with the AAC? Why is this not, other than these two, the Mavs and Stars came to hate each other. There's some things. And we know that the city politicians, Dallas mayor, there have been some major struggles on that scene. And those are other stories to be written. But first of all, yeah, it's good. It's great to have you, and really nice job on that story, trying to flesh out how an arena that looks fine to a lot of us falls so far behind. Even to Rick Welch saying to you something along the lines of, well, we could have, you know, we probably, you know, when we built this thing or when it was built, we could have maybe done some things differently. I would imagine as you were reporting on this, were you coming across things that made you kind of go, oh, well, I hadn't really thought about this.
Absolutely. And thanks so much for the kind words. It's a fascinating subject that I've been interested in and have been covering on and off for a few years now. I used to work at a Sports Business Journal, and this whole notion of fan experience, where's it going? How do you appeal to a Gen Z fan, demographic rather than our demographic? And I agree with you. I grew up in New Jersey, and we used to go to Veterans Stadium, and that was a cookie cutter stadium, just like Three Rivers Stadium, Riverfront Stadium, and they were all kind of the same, just these concrete boxes. It's come so far from that time, but still, I'm with you. And I was saying 25 years for an arena, it looks fine. It's perfectly serviceable, if not better than that. What's going on here? And I get so many emails, from fans just over the last couple months, really, as this whole movement has progressed toward new arenas for the Mavericks and the Stars. Hey, what's wrong with AAC? And so, I started talking to more and more people, and a little bit, it's about where things are right now, but it's really about where things are going in 5 to 10 years. And we probably can't even envision what it's going to look like in 10 years, given how AI is just, changing everything right now. But the main themes that I really hit on are teams now, they have to create an in-venue fan experience that has to contend with the at-home viewing experience, which has never been better, and it's as sophisticated as ever. And you got all angles on TV screens and replays and whatever the heck you want, and it's more convenient than ever, and also cheaper than going out to the ballpark or the stadium. That's number one. So there's a real responsibility and pressure on teams to elevate that fan experience. The second thing is the Gen Z demographic, it's different. And they want to not only go to a game and watch a game, they want a social experience. They want, stand-up bars and places where you could take shareable photos. They want more communal experiences. It all plays into that. And the last thing is the mixed-use entertainment districts, which, is all the rage everywhere right now in the country for sports teams, that is something that teams are really trying to tap into to get more revenue, more dollars. And that was high on the priority list for both the Dallas Mavericks and the Dallas Stars. But talking to Rick Welts over the last couple of months, talking to Brad Alberts with the Dallas Stars, Mavs and Stars haven't agreed on much in recent months, but they've agreed on this, that arena is obsolete in terms of the meeting the demands of the modern day fan. And they want to build anew to try to do that.
What do you think happens to it? Is there, I was, the wings are going to, there's been talk about what facility will they use. And I thought they were going to use something over by City Hall. Obviously they can't figure out what they want to do with City Hall, and that's going to be a fight, as everything is. But is that, 25 years into this thing, is the likely end for just that to be demolished and just have to reimagine what that area is, Victory Park?
It's hard to say for sure, Matt. I wish I had a definitive answer on that. I'm not sure anybody does at this point. Obviously the Mavs and the Stars will both compete in that arena until 2031 when the lease expires and they move into new buildings. What happens after that? Just per speculation, I could see it being a viable facility for other events, for concerts. Again, it is still a very nice facility, but the long-term prospects, I just don't know right now.
That's interesting that they're trying to decide what Gen Z wants and this experience. And have you been to some of these places, whether it be SoFi in LA or even the new basketball arena in San Francisco? And I would imagine Welts had some, he had the involvement there and had thoughts on all that. Have you been to any of these basketball arenas that you talked about some of those in the story, but that really resonated with you, that made you think, okay, this is what they're after? Like this, okay, I can kind of see this feels different than me going to a Mavs game.
That's a great question. And in talking with Brad Alberts with the Stars and Rick Welts with the Mavericks several times over the last couple months, they have both been visiting different arenas and facilities and checking everything out. And, oh, that looks good. Oh, look what we could do here. Look at that. Look at that social area. Look at that tunnel where the fans are really close and the players are coming in. There's a DJ. All of that stuff, nothing's set in stone. I'm just talking conceptually. These are things that are piquing their interest, and they're going to be picking from this place and that place. And Patrick Dumont, the Mavericks governor, he is going to be really hands-on in terms of details. He is meticulous with details, I'm told, and from the smallest little thing onward. When you talk about specific arenas, I've been to a lot of them. I think Chase Center's fantastic. I covered the finals there when they played the Celtics. And from a quality standpoint, that is certainly what the Mavericks and Rick Welts wants to emulate. He spearheaded that project, obviously. But they want to really make this a North Texas feel and give it a vibe. The LA Clippers arena, Intuit Dome, a few $1 billion. That's really, I'm told, Steve Ballmer's vision. And that may be a one-off. There's some unique things in there about how close the fans are to the core and video screens. And that may not be kind of copycatted as much as some other things in some other venues. State Farm's Arena in Atlanta, where the Hawks play, they got a lot of cool concepts. And they have this kind of food hall concept, Hawk Walk Market, I think it's called, with a lot of chef-driven concepts. They have something called Players Club, where there's a tunnel running out to the court where the fans, for a good price, will get right up to the players there. And there's a DJ and it's really, advantageous to snap photos and share on Instagram and that sort of thing. Arenas have more and more different concepts, and they feel they have to, because they're competing against so much right now. And this is not only what the Gen Z demographic wants, it's what they've come to expect. And they want a social environment. The last point I want to say, though, is that you don't want the pendulum to swing too far. And I remember, this is probably right before the pandemic, talking to a Major League Baseball executive about this thing. And he's like, how far do we want this to go? Like, what are we doing here? Are we trying to create a Dave & Buster's with the game as a backdrop? Or is the game still the centerpiece? And it's an interesting question that you got to strike a balance, because you still have your core fan, and for baseball, it's a little older for sure, but you don't want to alienate that group. Yet you want to grow your fan base and bring in new fans and bring in the fans that, are casual and want a social experience. So a lot of teams are trying to figure out how to walk that line and strike a balance. It's really important.
All right, you talk about in the story, premium seating is a big part of this. The old thought was somewhere around 7 to 10% perhaps premium seating, and now that thing could get up in the 20% range. And so I guess, is this moving? I mean, is the common man or woman going to have access to these games anymore? I mean, because with all these bells and whistles, this all sounds exciting. And hopefully Gen Z, they all get great jobs and they can afford all this stuff. But I mean, it's more and more. Is there any price point where just sort of a normal, decent working person can go to a game?
Great question. Could it price out even more fans? I've asked that. And what I'm told is there's no such thing as a typical fan anymore that you could just gear everything toward. There's so many different segments and niches of your fan base. And what we're going to see are more and more tiers of different premium experiences. Like on the extreme end, it'll be tremendous and something, we haven't even envisioned before. But there'll be so many different tiers that the hope is that it won't price out even more fans than before. But you struck on a great point with premium seating. And the Dallas Stars specifically, Brad Alberts has talked to me a lot about that in terms of the revenue they get per game from premium seating. They rank 29th out of 32 teams in the league. And they have less than 1,200 premium seats. And the league average is 2,300. And the demand is there for fans to want to purchase more. And he stressed with me that what's holding them back is the configuration of the American Airlines Center. And it was built and opened in 2001 at a time when luxury suites were all the rage. And it was the biggest thing. Well, times changed. And everything has changed so dramatically since then. And now it's all about, a different configuration and more options, more social clubs and communal experiences. And that's really the vision that the Stars and Brad Alberts have for the new arena. And I think very similar for Rick Welts and the Mavericks.
Do you sense that I guess they'll have time to get light rail to these places where they need to? It's hard to see Valley View as such a blight in Dallas. Wolonsky's written about it a million times. We remember it as the mall. Then it was just like a decaying. There was a movie theater. You get discount tickets. I kind of like that. And then it was just gone, right? It's just nothing. And so reimagining that, I think it's just hard for those of us who've been around here a long time to even see that. Like, oh my gosh, this is supposed to be some amazing area. I mean, is the vision already sort of in place? Like you say Dumont, let's just talk about the Mavericks in Valley View. Is he so wired through all his Vegas ties with the Adelsons and everything? Is this all like, there's the vision already there? Because like, I just think people that drive through there are just like, how in the world is everybody going to get to a game when that's already such a mess around there? Around anytime around rush hour?
It's a great point, and it's going to be a subject of our stories moving forward for sure. I mean, the terms that I keep hearing, ingress and egress. How do you get people in there? How do you get them out of there? That remains to be seen, and it's an excellent point, and they're going to have to figure that out. I don't know if there's an easy answer for that, but in terms of the vision, yes, I do believe when you combine Patrick Dumont and his level of detail with Rick Welts and his background that I would put up against anybody really in NBA history. And he was a disciple, obviously, of David Stern and what he did for the Chase Center and the Warriors. And in talking with him, he believes, and it's really important to him at this point in his career, to build the best facility that there's ever been. And he wants that as part of his legacy. Takes great pride in it. So conceptually, they're going to go all out. I have no doubt about it. Now, in terms of the two locations that they were considering, downtown, City Hall, Valley View, we've been on Welts and them for several weeks, if not months now, about, what's it going to be and what's the timetable look like. And personally, I really felt like City Hall and downtown was probably going to be the location, but that clock kept ticking and there was no resolution on what's going to happen with City Hall. And the other aspect was, and my great colleague Brad Townsend reported it in his story about Valley View, was that there was some, and I'm paraphrasing here, but there was some concern in the Dumont camp about taking heat, being the one who was the reason why City Hall was demolished and torn down. And there was some maybe growing concern about that. I understand that makes sense. And the other thing is that just inescapably, they made clear to me that July 1st was a drop dead hard deadline. They had to nail this site by that day. It was already extended to that point, and they were trying to give the city as much time as they possibly could. But there was a day, probably a month ago, 6 weeks ago, where I asked Rick Welts, does your timeline of July 1st align with the city's timeline regarding City Hall? And he said, I don't know. If you know, tell me. I don't know that. And I took him at his word. And at that point, that concerned me that this may not be resolved by July 1st. And here we are. They made this decision 29 days before that deadline. And Valley View, here we come.
Is there enough room out there for a casino, or is that because that Irving area, they got 200 acres, they got a little more acreage out there. Everybody still wonders, and who knows if that'll ever become legal in Texas. But they ultimately always think, because of where he came from, that's going to be his play. There's probably in the mixed use and the build out of all of this. Do you sense that that's on their minds, or do they just completely continue to try to kind of shoot that aspect of it down?
They do shoot it down publicly. Is it on their minds? How can it not be on really everybody's minds? I think, the phrase I keep hearing is they're playing the long game, and it's gonna take a long time for that to play out. Is there enough room? I would say personally, absolutely, because there's always been enough room when entities and individuals want to put in a gaming facility, for wagering, and 104 acres. And, they want to go big, retail, restaurants, hotel. But in talking with Rick Welts and then others, industry experts, it is critical to nail the right mix and to integrate the assortment of, entities that you're putting there with the arena, and to have kind of a synergy with the vibe there. And, one of the things I'm going to look into is, we know about some success stories when it comes to mixed use. I think it's a fascinating dynamic. And Ballpark Village in St. Louis, the ownership group in St. Louis, they gave me a tour of that personally. This was like 2 weeks before the pandemic hit. So it was a really weird vibe out there, but it was fascinating to talk to them about what you want to do, what you don't want to do, best practices. The Atlanta Braves with the Battery in Atlanta, they nail it, and they make money hand over fist with that thing. And that's in the suburbs. I want to dig into some places where it hasn't really worked, and why hasn't it worked? And that's probably going to be something I'm going to work on, in the next couple months, because it's going to be critical to get this thing right and to get the right mix of, restaurants, facility, retail, hotels, the works.
Well, they didn't get it right in Arlington when they first built the old ballpark. I mean, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but
right,
all this Glory Park and whatever that didn't come to fruition. And then Texas Live arrives only after, right, Jerry comes out there with the new stadium. So it kind of happened in our backyard. One last thing: when does AT&T Stadium become obsolete? Jerry's, because Troy made a joke about that, like right when it was open, kind of like, this will be too old in about 20 years. And everybody just kind of laughed. And yet, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's some things they thought about when you said fans being around players. Jerry did think about putting people around like the press conferences and putting people in seating areas where the players kind of come out and go through that. So maybe there was some foresight, but I'm just wondering, I mean, as massive as that place is, when are we having that conversation?
It's unbelievable. I wrote this. That's a great question. I wrote this story a couple of weeks ago in talking with Mark Williams from HKS, who designed the stadium, AT&T Stadium, in advance of the World Cup at 9 matches coming. And he remembers being in a meeting with Jerry Jones back in, I think, 03 and 04 with the planning. And they said, well, we're going to host a World Cup when it comes. And that's when their vision really started to take shape for what AT&T Stadium would be. Well, we're like 23 years past that. And as I wrote in this story, that's an eternity in the stadium and arena worlds. And so why AT&T Stadium stood the test of time. There's been significant renovations in recent years for sure, but it just works. And Jerry's innovations, including, having fans near the players when they can run out, the suites, the glass, the window, I don't know how that works for the game itself. There's been much discussion about that, but it just got a great ambiance. And there's a reason why they put 9 World Cup matches there, the most of any venue. It was in strong running to be the facility for the finals. And a lot of people here are still disappointed it didn't get that, but it's got a semifinal. I think it's got a great chance to be the venue for the 2031 Women's World Cup final. And that's what they're hoping. This thing just works. And SoFi Stadium, that's newer. That gets a lot of attention. The one in Minnesota with the Vikings is really impressive. Atlanta jumps to mind. It's still up there. It's still a template for a lot of new stadiums that are being built, that they want to get X, Y, and Z and copy what AT&T Stadium works, because it's still there. It's on full display every Thanksgiving, in every Cowboy game that's televised nationally. So I think it's going to be here for a long time.
We just don't know if we can ever get a Super Bowl again, because we didn't know how to handle weather and yeah.
Great point.
Didn't know how to put salt down, and yeah, you've done poorly if where the media is staying down at the Sheridan in downtown Dallas, if you don't put enough salt down and they're falling down, you sort of have to take care of them because they're sort of getting the word out. It's sad that a Super Bowl in Jacksonville worked better than Dallas, and they even had to put cruise ships in because they didn't have enough hotels when they had that in Jacksonville. So sadly, that will always be held against Jerry. And then there was the disaster with the temporary seating. You probably remember that whole story. Yeah. So, well, listen, Eric, that's great to have you on. And I really appreciate all that. I just love, we kind of have all these questions and we're like, what about this? Or why is this place not good enough anymore? Well, when you actually go out and you talk to the experts, some of those, are around here. Some of those are across America. Those stories are extremely helpful. And Chuck Cooperstein was even out there bragging on you, how great a story it was, the voice of the Mavs. So just know people really enjoyed that story. So great job. And I really enjoyed having you on.
Oh, thanks very much. Really enjoyed the conversation, Matt. Anytime. There's a lot more, we're digging into here.
Absolutely. There he goes. Eric Prisbel with the Dallas Morning News and sports business. And, it's just because of all this realignment and everything that has happened. I think, Sports Business Journal, what he was just talking about, and John Uran, who had that background, those guys have become more and more in demand and more popular than ever. And I'm sure there were times in their careers they're like, okay, why have I gotten into this field where maybe I'm not as prominent? And quite honestly, the way all this is going now, some of that coverage is more prominent than ever. But interesting. Kev, that is interesting, and even thinking through your beloved Lucas Oil Stadium, like some of these stadiums, and they're about to rebuild or they're about to build a new stadium for the Chicago Bears. You wonder, what makes a place obsolete and what makes a place stand the test of time. The reason I always thought Soldier Field kind of stood the test of time is just because simply the look of it from the outside. And I've been there and I've been to games. Why did Lambeau has stood the test of time? Well, they were somehow able to renovate it, keep the unbelievable history of it, have the Hall of Fame there, and it's a small place that probably is sort of landlocked enough where, it just would be hard to come in there with one of these massive brand new kind of stadiums. And it's a place where people value just sort of sentimentality and just everything that comes with Lambeau. But I thought that was interesting what he had to say about AT&T Stadium, that for whatever reason, it's still a place where people are desperately trying to come. And at least so far, it has not been surpassed. Maybe SoFi Stadium is up there with the look of it and the scale and the location. But as far as what Jerry wanted, however many years we're into this thing now, 23 years or whatever we're into this, we're not that far into it, are we? 2007? What do we have there, Kev? What are you showing us?
That's Soldier Field.
Okay. So Chicago's trying to determine whether over at Hammond, they got to go over to the Indiana side to get this thing done, or what you'd call Arlington Park area. Arlington Heights, sorry.
Yep.
They're in Chicago. What's that beautiful park that's in downtown Chicago?
Millennium.
You're right. There may be that, but what I'm talking about is the bigger park is called, I think, Grant Park.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a beautiful. It's a beautiful area, and so what you can't do is like take up a bunch of green space and go, "Hey, we're just going to put this thing down in Grant Park."
The city of Chicago said that downtown is no more. That there's no space to build downtown, and I don't know why you think this is this glowing example of what a stadium should be. Maybe back when it was built. But
I don't
anymore.
I think you're overstating it to say that that's how I'm representing it. I'm simply saying there were franchises that had stadiums that had a bit of an iconic feel.
Yeah, sure.
And the Soldier Field, maybe that's the side facing out on
the kind of Coliseum look. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah,
that always, to me, the walk up was just kind of neat. I'm just like, whoa. But I mean, again, I kind of thought the same about RFK. Where is that now? No longer in existence. Now, what's funny is, guess what they're going to do? They're going to build a stadium right there on top of old RFK. Because at some point they're like, this is so foolish. People hate this dump out in Landover. And that's another case of, we're going to build this shining new stadium, and within 20 to 25 years, it's a flat-out dump.
But do you know the difference between every other stadium you are mentioning and the success in Green Bay?
Every other stadium.
The people own the Packers. So it can't change because there would have to be too many people involved in the ratifying or whatever it would take to change that.
I'm okay. You raise an interesting point. I've always thought the people owning that is kind of neat, but if somebody decided with the Packers that they needed a brand new stadium, they'd find a way to get it done. Like they don't ask the people when they're making huge free agency moves and deciding what they're going to do at quarterback. So I think the president, Mark Murphy or whoever it is now, it used to be Ted Thompson, used to be the GM there. And sadly, we lost him. There's still people in place to make monstrous decisions. Yeah. I think the bigger reason, I think you raise a good point. So I don't want to.
I think the point is that it's much more difficult for a billionaire to come in and say, this is what we're doing with the Packers rather than any other organization.
Yes. And people would rebel. Like, think about it. They moved them out of Seattle. They moved the Cowboys years ago, out of Dallas into Irving. These things that you just think are unthinkable. It is unthinkable to think you could move the Packers to Milwaukee. It's just too ingrained, but there's only one fan base like that. And by the way, what's interesting about that, it's a small market, but but they have a national following.
Yeah.
Like if you say to me, no matter who shows up the best at road games, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, Dallas Cowboys, I'm running out of teams.
I mean, it kind of depends on who's hot. The Patriots surely went Brady, but not now.
Yeah,
the Chiefs now, but not before.
They almost show up no matter what, the Steelers. They love to travel, and they will show up. Green Bay, the same. And the Cowboys kind of, whether they're up or down, those people are going to show up at these other venues. It's interesting when you watch all that play out. All right, Kev, we've got more. We got the NBA Finals start tonight. We got the Stanley Cup to react to. I'm not going to do as much on that, but we're off and running there. And I was paying attention. It was 4-4. It was very interesting, and we'll see what the Golden Knights are up to. And then Kevin, on the Baylor end of things, I can't spend a lot of time on that. There are some Baylor representatives somehow in these finals, but it's such a thin representation. I can barely comment on that. But we do have. I want to get back a little bit into what happened in Washington, D.C. today. So we'll jump back into some college stuff, and then we will talk NBA Finals. It is here, and this is fascinating. Could the Knicks finally break through? Or will the Spurs, a team that did not have to spend as much time in the wilderness as other teams do because they got the great Wemby, can they do this? All of that is next.
It's the 2026 Heart of Texas Builders Association Parade of Homes, brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas. Tour a variety of homes at different price points, plus see the latest trends from beautiful kitchens to outdoor living spaces. See the latest colors and design patterns. This is your chance to walk through homes, meet the builders, and get inspiration for your own projects. The Heart of Texas Builders Association Parade of Homes, June 5th, 6th, and 7th, and June 13th and 14th. Tickets are available online or at any parade home. For more information, go to wacohomeparade.com.
Do you suffer from low sports enthusiasm? Have you just not been able to get into the game? Maybe your balls are just feeling deflated. Well, get back to your old self and enjoy the game again. The friendly bartenders at Dancing Bear want you to know that you're not alone, and they can help. With dozens of craft beers rotating every week, pints of beer at Dancing Bear Pub have proven to reduce symptoms of low sports enthusiasm. Side effects include good times, good vibes, and new friends. Do not visit Dancing Bear Pub without consulting 4 or 5 of your closest buddies.
Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple is your one-stop shop for custom window treatments, transforming your vision into reality. Choose from a selection of shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind our service and products, ensuring peace of mind with our trusted warranty. Call Bumblebee Blinds today to schedule your design consultation. Bumblebee Blinds, simplifying window treatments one covering at a time. BumblebeeBlinds.com.
David Willey here. I got a question for you. How do you know what kind of deal you're getting on your copier? If you really want to know, give me a call and I'll be glad to talk to you about it. CTWP, your only local copier company.
It's the premier charity event of the year, the 2026 Central Texas Cattle Barons Ball, presented by Ascension Providence. A fun evening filled with great food and drink, dancing, a spectacular auction, and more. This year's theme is Nashville Nights, Neon Lights, and Bullfights. Get your tickets now, donate, or be a sponsor. Help support the American Cancer Society to find a cure. The 2026 Central Texas Cattle Barons Ball, October 24th at MCC Highlander Ranch. For more information, go to centraltexascattlebaronsball.org. At Schmaltz Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975 with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you.
It is Matt Mosley, the Matt Mosley Show, and we will get into the NBA Finals. They get going tonight, 7:30, ABC. It's going to be exciting. We were just talking to Eric Prisbill about why did the American Airlines Center, where the Stars and Mavs play, why did it become obsolete? What's its future? What are they looking to do? And Kevin, that's why I loved having him on. That's interesting. I mean, again, they may not be targeting our age range, but it's interesting to hear like what they're trying to accomplish, We'll see if it works and how they're trying to thread the needle on this mixed use. One other thing, Kevin, that Eric wrote a story on just yesterday, SMU Mustang Partners did a multi-year partnership with digital engagement platform KRIDA. Is it CRIDA or CRIDA? In what school officials call a first-of-its-kind deal in college sports that will target the, quote, next generation of fans and put more dollars into the pockets of athletes. They partnered with a 23-year-old SMU graduate to launch a digital engagement program to create interactive experience, exclusive access and rewards. And they'll launch a digital coin to connect fans, athletes, and students. Believed to be the first in the fast-evolving college sports landscape that continues to undergo historic disruption. He graduated from SMU's Cox School of Business a year ago, called it a historic partnership and the first of more than a dozen the company plans to roll out with schools over the next several weeks. The target audience is Gen Z and millennial demographics. Kevin, we are officially, as if you didn't know it, we are, wait, Kevin, are you millennial or are you with me in Gen Z?
You mean Gen X.
Gen X, sorry. Thank you.
All
yes,
right.
Gen
I
X.
was letting you put, I ride that border. That border, so yeah.
Would you even know what a digital coin was?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, so have you used that kind of thing before?
No,
digital coins?
No, I'm too leery of it. So that's kind of,
okay. Right.
I'm aware of it, but I don't trust it. So that kind of is the very defining of where I sit. I
sense that you don't trust much, really, in life, except maybe God. All right.
Very good.
Kev, so that was interesting. I mean, and again, another business story that just dropped yesterday involving SMU. Now, Kev, let's fire up before we get to the NBA Finals. Look back. Let's get that Saban one ready to go. Because that was big news. We got a couple of baseball games going on, by the way. I like for y'all to know we are truly live by telling you that the Marlins are up 3-1 over the Nationals in the bottom of the eighth, and the White Sox are leading the Twins 5-0 in the bottom of the seventh. All right. In case you were wondering, is Mosley really live? I'm watching this afterwards. We're live every day, 1 to 3. One story that coming out of that, and there's another story I want to hit NFL here in a second, but the big story was Nick Saban, and he faced several United States senators Wednesday morning in a historic hearing before Capitol Hill and pleaded for Congress to, quote, bring order to a system that badly needs fixing. He went on to say Congress does not need to micromanage college athletics. Congress does need to fix the mess in the courts and create a national framework so the people inside college sports can enforce their fair rules. He went on to say, Kev, that we need a commissioner, need somebody that's in charge to enforce these things. Since nobody's really in charge except the Big Ten and SEC, and all they do is remind everybody how little we are, how little power any of us have. Unless you're in the mighty SEC or Big Ten, you have no power. Is there someone who could rule fairly over all of college football, over all of college athletics? Because the NCAA has tried its best, but that's a joke, and we all know that to be the case. Kev, let's give people a quick taste of Nick Saban in that hearing today, weighing in on what he sees and what needs to happen in college athletics.
me give you the history. My first year we had collective at Alabama, 2.7 million. Next year, 7 million. Next year, 10 million. I retired. Next year, 17 million. Next year, 24 million. Now you have schools that have close to $40 million rosters. So if we continue to do that, we're going to lose Olympic sports, we're going to lose non-revenue sports, we're going to lose scholarships, and basically what's going to happen is you're going to have football and basketball succeed, and we'll have club sports for everything else.
Okay. This is the popular argument. Cody Campbell's tried to make it too out of Tech, and Cody's doing his best. Yes, he's turned Tech into a juggernaut, but he's also spent a ton of his time trying to fix college athletics. So we got to give him a little pat on the back for that. Saban is not trying to say we need to, stop paying athletes. We need to go back to just paying for their books or their tuition. No, he's not trying to do that. But again, and others at this thing, including the Notre Dame athletic director who used to be the head of NBC Sports, is trying to say what you do is you raise the cap, that revenue share. We're not trying to take money away from the athletes, but let's say instead of 23% of that of the settlement, let's get the cap up, and then maybe we could enforce the cap. Maybe everybody wouldn't. Well, I've got news for him. People will still try to find ways around it. Ways around having to use revenue share. Why does Baylor feel so far out of this right now? Well, partially because they probably, I don't know this for certain, but and I have talked to coaches about this, they're actually trying to play by the rules. They're actually trying to play within the revenue share and not go above that, and they're playing by rules that a lot of schools aren't using. And so everybody else is racing past them. Where does Baylor, like their football roster, rank in comparison to the other 15 schools in the Big 12? I bet they're 12th or 13th. The men's basketball probably is better because they have the ability. They've probably brought in some more outside money other than just the revenue share, but still probably about eighth or ninth in the conference. This is a team that at one point was right up there with Kansas as the best program in the conference, and they're fortunate right now to be in the top 10 in spending. And it's not like, Baylor doesn't have anybody that'll give money. Now, Baylor understands this. There'll be more money come flowing in. It's hard to say, look at our football program. Oh, look at what we were last year. We were 6-5-6 or 5-7. And we got an opportunity to go to a bowl game because they couldn't fill the bowl games, and we still chose not to go. And so, here we are. I mean, Baylor understands that unless they have a huge bounce back year with DJ Lagway, that the money from the donors and the revenue streams and all that stuff's not going to come flowing in with Dave Aranda as the head coach. He knows that as well as anybody. We don't have to remind you of how he got to keep his job. All right. It took this scandal with the AD for that to happen. That said, I hope it's an unbelievable turnaround story this year. They're trying to throw haymakers. They got a good offensive coordinator. They got a good defensive coordinator. Dave's going to go back to being the CEO. They've recruited the best they can under the circumstances. But anyway, bottom line is, under the current system, the way it's going to continue to be the haves and the have-nots. And other sports are going to lose out and just have to go away. So what is Baylor good at right now? Decent at women's basketball. Good at women's golf. Good at men's golf. They're good at volleyball. They're really consistent and good at volleyball. And they're good at tumbling and acrobatics and tumbling. And I think they're okay with the horses. Well, they used to be elite. They're not elite anymore at that. Good at softball. Pretty good at softball. That's it, man. That's it. Not good at football. Kind of, middle, going the wrong direction in women's basketball. 2 rough years in men's basketball. 1 horrific year. It's not good. It's not good. So any kind of change and any kind of rules where we were all playing under some rules would help immensely, because the way it's going, Baylor's only going to get worse. And I think Doug McNamee is a great guy. He's a good friend, but we can't ask him to be a miracle worker. He's not going to be able to just go out and go, hey, look over here. I just found $500 million. Mac forgot to look over here. This person just gave $500 million. The only way a new batch of huge cash inflow that's going to come to Baylor athletics is going to be if they fire Dave Aranda after the season or during the season. He knows that. He knows that too. Now, the fun part would be if he wrote a different story and he turned it around this year. I'm rooting for that. The thing I will not do is what some people do, is root for Baylor failure so they'll make a change. How did that work last year? They failed and you didn't get a change. So you want to sit around and root for them to lose? Is that how you want to spend your time? All right. Kev, we do have, I'll let you talk about it, Kevin, last night, real quick. The NHL, we got Stanley Cup final. We got the Hurricanes, and we got the Golden Knights. Golden Knights, who've got both teams have done fine in the past. Golden Knights, probably certainly have accomplished more in terms of postseason success, but they come through. This thing was 4-4. This was nip and tuck, and the Golden Knights find a way to take game 1. Kevin, what was your biggest takeaway from this one?
What an environment. Yeah, I mean, you got to love hockey just because everybody's so passionate, right? Some people, maybe myself included at times, just don't really pay attention to hockey a whole lot. But, man, the people who do are just all in all the time. And for Carolina to, have this environment, they've got the home ice, and to all these goals to be scored, it was not a defensive battle. It was an offensive battle. And to just come up just a little shy in the last 6 minutes has got to be terribly deflating. And now flips the home ice. And, in that kind of environment, to still come up short has got to be pretty devastating for the Hurricanes, and from my perspective.
All right. The passion and the excitement in the Stanley Cup final, it's there. And, the Hurricanes, they were known for forcing their opponents in these first 3 playoff rounds into bad decisions. And the Golden Knights, in game 1, relentless pressure put the Hurricanes in a bad spot. And that was what they were ruining after this one. Coach Rod Brindamore saying, they forced us into mistakes and we didn't handle pressure particularly well. Sometimes there wasn't pressure and we made a few poor decisions with the puck. They capitalized. Entering Tuesday, road teams were 0-55 when down multiple goals at any point in the Stanley Cup final game 1. Oh, I mean, Kev, that's pretty amazing. 0-55. Carolina held a 2-0 lead after 12:08 of the first period, and they coughed it up. What are you guys, the Cleveland Cavaliers? Okay, all right. Let's get back to firm ground, Kev. let's get back to where I feel much more on firm ground. Knicks go to San Antonio. Game 1, 7:30 ABC. If they're saying that's the tip-off time is probably more like 7:40, 7:45. Although, I don't know, Kev, there was something we were watching recently, and we kind of had that thought, and they actually started something on time. But anyway, in this game, San Antonio favored by 4.5. Okay. Let me tell you how I feel. I think the long layoff generally hurts teams more than it helps teams. I've got San Antonio finding a way to win game 1. I'm taking the Knicks to win the series. And it feels foolish to keep going against San Antonio, although I haven't gone against them a lot. I think the sentiment I had where they were so young and inexperienced that I trusted OKC's experience. I think it was fairly solid reasoning. San Antonio wins game 6 and game 7, and they got it done. In the Knicks case, in the end, SGA didn't have enough help. And it killed them that A.J. Mitchell was out. It killed them that Jalen Williams was not healthy throughout that series and could not play. I don't think he played in game 6 or game 7. I know he wasn't out there game 7. I don't think he played in game 6. I think he only played in 1 or 2 of the games in that series. And, well, that's their second best player. All right. So I'm not saying that there should be an asterisk on that series, but that was not the full OKC. Now, in that series as well, a couple of Spurs got hurt. De'Aaron Fox was hurt at the first of that Western Conference Finals. And then who else missed a game? Did Dylan Harper have to miss a game? Anyway.
Yeah, Harper was out for a game.
Yeah. So some of that was happening. So Kevin, and I want to hear your prediction, but I'm going to go with Knicks to win the series in 6. In 6 games.
Knicks in 6.
Knicks in 6. And my MVP is, of course, none other than the great Jalen Brunson. And my reasoning is simply so many veterans, so many Villanova kids.
Although they got rid of one to get another one.
So. I know. But Bridges is great. Hart's great. Brunson, I know I'm only naming the Villanova players, but I think Towns certainly brings what he brings. And just a little bit of a update, Mitchell Robinson for the Knicks is available for game 1. I did see that. And okay. He is available, and I hate when he's on the floor because it brings in the Hacka Mitch. And he's one of the more horrific free throw shooters of our time. He is about a 39 to 40% free throw shooter. So it's pathetic to watch this guy shoot free throws. And it's probably smart to foul him, but from a viewing standpoint, it's horrible when they start doing that. So please keep Mitchell Robinson off the court as much as you can. What do you have?
Well, okay. The biggest struggle for me here is, I am from Indiana. And so forget the Knicks. Like, absolutely down with the Knicks. Could not dislike the Knicks more. But this is not the same Knicks team that the Pacers played last year. They are more healthy, have more assets readily available, and they're better coached than they were last year as well. But I have this huge dilemma because OG Anunoby he played at Indiana, but he plays for the hated Knicks. So go OG Anunoby, but down with the Knicks. I think the key is, like the Spurs discovered in Game 6 against OKC, throw 3 different rotation of defenders at the star point guard. I think you can frustrate Brunson over the series if you do that. Whether that's Vassell, Castle, Harper, even Champagny from time to time, have those guys regularly rotating on him and capitalize on Wemby. But then, as you mentioned, like the Knicks just have so many different options, and I think that it will be too much to overcome. I think that if the Knicks are going to win, it's going to have to be Knicks in 6. That's probably where I'm headed as well. But I think if it makes it to a Game 7 in San Antonio, I think the Spurs will come out victorious.
So you're saying Knicks in 6, but if it makes it to Game 7, you'll go with the Spurs. All right. I like this quote from a veteran NBA head coach. He was asked about Wembanyama. This is in a story from Brian Windhorst. And you'll remember, Kevin, your beloved Pacers, Shaq's 3rd year when he was Wemby's age, led the Magic into the Eastern Conference Finals against the mighty Indiana Pacers. This is what veteran coach said about Wembanyama. Wembanyama. He's Shaq. He eats clean, worries about how his water is filtered, and doesn't break backboards like Shaq did, but he presents the same problem. None of us know what the hell we're going to do to stop him. Wow. The 7'2", 300-pound big man, talking about Shaq, went to 6 finals from 95 to 2006 and won 4 titles. And they call him, I like Windhorst, it says a 7'4" center guard with an unprecedented arsenal of skills. How do you defend him? I don't know that you do. I don't know how you build a wall. I mean, they tried to get physical with him. It worked a little bit. OKC, with their guy, they could try that with Mitchell Robinson. You know, Cat can't really get that physical with him. Okay, Cat's not as physical as the big man that came in and bruised with him from OKC. But anyway, it's going to be fun, and it starts tonight, and we'll react to it tomorrow at 1:00. It's 3:00. We've given you bonus coverage. It is the landing. Thank you, Brazos Landing. We always land right here. Tomorrow we'll do the Schmaltz trivia contest, and we'll talk about those unbelievable sandwich at Schmaltz's. But today, let me dream of a Brazos Landing chicken fried steak, the cream gravy, the sides, the mashed potatoes. Oh, and let me think about just being right out there by the river on a day that doesn't feel quite as hot. Had some storms move through the area yesterday, cooled things down just a little bit as we sit out, that we enjoy the gentle breezes coming off the Brazos River. Thank you very much for being a part of this program. Thank you, Eric Prisbel, who came to us from the Dallas Morning News today. We just continue to give you exciting guests, informative guests. We'll see you tomorrow at 1:00. Good night.
As part of Central National Bank's partnership with Baylor Women's Basketball, we asked Coach Collins to take a shot at improving the efficiency of our drive-thru. We have a few kinks to work out.
Is this what you had in mind when you invited her?
No. I think you should say something to her.
Me?
Let's make Craig do it.
Okay, yeah.
You're going to take this canister and you're going to shoot it up.
Be all right. Be all right. Just be confident. Hey, Coach. Can I have a word with you?
Craig, not right now. I'm with a customer.
Okay.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.